Right, guys, today in this video I wanted to go over my top 5 recommendations on how to keep your metabolism as high as possible while you are dieting. Now this matters because for most cases, if you can eat more food and lose body fat, usually the RPE, the rate of perceived exertion of the diet, is lower. And there are very basic things that I'm going to recommend here that really everybody can do. That's not like a magical supplement or pill or really just going to cost you really any extra money by doing it. These are just lifestyle habits that you can do on a regular basis. This is not only going to allow your metabolism to remain as high as possible while you're dieting, but you actually be able to build up your metabolism to as high as possible for you with your own genetics over time. So first thing is going to be getting enough sleep. This is really important because sleep is something that's going to really regulate lots of hormones related to hunger, also related to energy expenditure. If you are sleep restricted for a long time, there will be certain hormonal shifts that will not allow you to burn as many calories. There's also going to be some, reductions in non-exercise activity thermogenesis just because you're more tired. So like, you're going to be fidgeting less during the day. Little tiny things like that are going to really contribute to keeping your metabolism as high as possible. So my recommendation for most people is like bare minimum, if you're physically active, like 7 hours of sleep, and in general just healthy humans. But like the more the better in general. Like if you can get closer to 8 to 9 hours of sleep, you're generally gonna have an easier time keeping your metabolism faster and just feeling better in general. I know some people have very stressful lives. The whole thing is like, just try to prioritize it. Instead of staying up an extra 10 minutes like on your phone, turn your phone off, go to sleep. It's going to make you feel better, and you're going to be able to eat more in general while dieting and not have as much metabolic adaptation downwards. Now the second one is going to be walking. So walking is super underrated for just in general. People like to think that there needs to be like lots of formal cardio, and actually one of the ironies of doing a lot of cardio and like not tracking your steps is that lots of times people will increase their cardio, and then because they get so tired from it, they just move less in general in their everyday life, which kind of results in this: I increased my cardio and nothing will happen, but the action was like you just offset it. And so like in general, like having a baseline step count is going to really allow you to burn more calories. So like if you walk a mile and you weigh 200 pounds, you're going to burn another 200 calories. And walking is amazing compared to like actual cardio that's, harder. Your heart is getting up more, and just exercise in general, because it's not nearly as fatiguing in general. So you can do a lot more of it and actually not get that much fatigue. Like there's obviously a cap, but most people for practical reasons are not going to be close to it, just due to time and lifestyle constraints. So a good target to shoot for is about 8,000 steps at bare minimum, up to about 15,000 steps per day. Like if you are weighing 200 pounds, that's going to be another 400 to 800 calories burned per day. And one of the best ways to get in more steps is just walking more in everyday life, like looking for opportunities for that. So like, for example, like going on walks for 10 minutes after your meals, going on 30-minute walks in the evening, buy a walking pad, so you can do that like while you're watching TV in the evening, walk around in between your sets at the gym. Just like looking for these opportunities to like move throughout your day will just help out a ton, as opposed to what a lot of people do, like sedentary lifestyles and jobs, just like, oh, look down at their phone, or their step tracker, and they're like, oh crap, like I got 2,000 steps, so I have to do an hour of walking and it's late. So spaced out throughout your day, it's actually a little bit better for your health too. From what I've seen in the scientific literature, spacing out throughout your day is supposed to like just one go in general. So that's going to be number 2, is just walk more. It's going to be really helpful. Number 3 is going to be protein. So protein is helpful for 2 reasons. So number 1, it's going to allow you to build more muscle, and muscle burns more calories than body fat does, about double the amount of calories. It's not like a huge difference. Fat burns about 3 calories per pound at rest, and then muscle burns about 6. So like that's not like a huge difference across the course of the day. If you build another 20 pounds of muscle, it's not that much more. But like having more muscle like while you are moving is going to allow you to like burn more calories, like a lot more. That's why you'll see lots of people like myself, for example, like I can eat 4,000 plus calories per day and I'm very lean because I have a lot of muscle mass, I move a lot, etc. But protein is going to allow you to build more muscle, maintain more muscle, and you're actually going to be burning more calories just through digestion as a result of eating more dietary protein. Again, like these are small things. It's not like something that is going to be huge, but they add up over time. And the thing with all these tips is that like you do all of them together, it makes a really, really big difference with what your metabolism can be. So I like scaling protein based off of, number one, like how muscular are you, like relative to your body weight. So like people that are higher body fat percentage don't need to eat as much protein. Or also people that are not as physically active or not weight training as much with as much training volume, usually can be closer down to like 0.7 grams per pound of body weight, all up to like 1.2, depending on how lean you are, how much training volume that you are doing, etc. It's kind of like a sliding scale. But in general, like if you want to like have like a very safe number to shoot for, is just like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. It also has a side effect too, just like not related to your metabolism, but staying on track with your diet. It's much harder to overeat on protein than it is on like carbs and fats because it doesn't taste as good. So eat more protein, that also help. Number 4 is going to be just do not crash diet. This is a big issue I see people have, is that they will go from eating the regular diets and just slashing their calories like in half or even more, and they're on these super low calorie diets. And what you have to understand is that our body's priority is to survive. Like it doesn't know that you have a pantry full of food or a fridge full of food, but you're just choosing not to have it, not like eat that food. All it's thinking is, holy crap, like there's not a lot coming and we need to like do certain things like downregulate our metabolism to meet this guy like wherever he's at. And that is going to result in more severe metabolic adaptation downwards. And you'll get to this point eventually in a diet where it's like your calories are already so low that you can't really lower them down that much more without driving fatigue way through the roof. And this is usually when people are like, oh, diets don't work, it messes up your metabolism, whatever. It's because you weren't dieting right. The right mindset of dieting should be having a goal rate of weight loss, which that's actually sustainable and realistic. That's not going to eat into your lean body mass, because crash dieting also is going to it's going to result in you losing lean body mass. You're going to have compromised performance in the gym, less strength. You're going to be more tired, etc. So like your metabolism is just going to adapt downwards to make sure that you survive. So a good mindset you want to have is like, how can I eat as much as possible while having my target rate of weight loss? And a good rate of weight loss to shoot for, that's meat and potatoes, is like 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week, or just 1 to 2 pounds per week, and just staying there. It takes time if you've gotten out of shape and you have a really high body fat percentage to get back in shape. And if you try to rush the process and try to like force your body to get like as lean as fast as possible, like you can't do it. Like you can lose fat really quickly, but there are issues with your fatigue, and it's like, what do you do after the diet? Like, how are you going to like respond to it? How are you going to feel? How sustainable are the habits that you're creating? So do not crash diet. Be in a moderate deficit you can sustain over time, and focus on good sustainable habits, because the reality is that what habits you have created in order to lose the weight are usually what's going to allow you to keep the weight off. So if you have unsustainable methods, it's going to be very difficult for you to lose that weight and keep it off. So eat as much as possible while having your target rate of weight loss. Do not just slash your calories like crazy. Be slow, be steady, be deliberate. If your weight loss stalls, instead of being like, okay, another 500 calories down, try 200, because maintenance calories are more like a range, not like a fixed value. So like usually when people stop losing weight, it's not like their maintenance is actually there. It's just that the difference between like what the scale is saying versus like the actual energy deficit that you're in is very frequently. I have clients that like have scale stalls, but I'm like, oh, how are your clothes fitting and whatever, and they're like, oh, my clothes are getting looser. And so like, it's not like you need to slash calories again. Like a small like 200 calories down is really a good way to go. Now my last tip is going to be weight train frequently. Like make sure that you're focused on building muscle and getting stronger. It's going to result in more calories burned throughout the day, because if you're stronger, your body burns more calories recovering from that. There's more energy output during that. There's no compensation of energy expenditure. That's another thing that's a problematic thing with like too high of step counts for cardio, is that it's not like a perfect one-to-one. Like I add in 10 minutes of cardio and I burn 100 more calories. And once you get to a certain point, it's like less and less predictable, whereas your body will compensate in other areas. With weight training, your body can't. Like if you want to lift 500 pounds for 5 reps, there's a certain amount of energy your body has to output. So weight training focus on getting stronger and building muscle is going to do lots of things in the long term to really build up your metabolism. And that's a big thing that we focus on in my program. I get lots of women in particular like I work with who don't emphasize protein, weight training, or getting their steps in. And once we start doing that, it's like, holy crap, the matrix is unlocked. They start losing body fat. They feel better. Like they're in a much better spot. So a good rule of thumb as far as like weight training volume is, you know, probably getting in about 5 hard sets per week, just like in general, if you just want to be generally healthy, or just, you know, starting off with 3 sessions a week with 1 to 2 sets per muscle group, depending on your level of advancement, and just doing that and focus on getting stronger. And that's a really, really good place to start off with. So hopefully this was helpful. I think this is just something that people need to understand. You can build up your metabolism to be higher over time, but it comes down to long-term habits. And the main thing is not going to be, like, the big takeaway here is just don't do shit tons of cardio, don't crash diet, don't cut your calories like crazy. If you really, really want to get your metabolism as high as possible, get strong, like get really good at training. Like when I started off lifting, I was 135 pounds and I was not strong, I was anorexic, etc. My maintenance calories at like 135 with like 8,000 steps a day were like 1,800 calories-ish. And like now, like my maintenance calories with like 10,000 steps and being 200 pounds and, you know, deadlifting in the 700 pounds and training frequently and being strong, like I'm burning like over double that. Like I'm maintaining my weight on like 3,900 calories doing that. So like just some food for that. Like that's what's going to be like the biggest thing in all honesty about like building your metabolism up long term, just getting strong, focusing on weight training as opposed to doing tons of cardio as much as possible. Your metabolism is what it is, you know, and but this is going to help you get as high as possible over time for your own individual genetics and make fat loss easier and less hard because you're not killing yourself to get there. So hopefully this is helpful. If you guys have any questions, ask down in the comments below.